Welcome to a brand new part of the channel. I'm gonna call this Smoky Saturdays. Let's drink some peated whiskey. Welcome to Smoky Saturdays. I'm the Whiskey Chaser Brian, coming to you from Christy's bar in Kilkenny. Right, so if you don't know by now, I have another playlist on my channel. I call it Whiskey and Whiskey, spelt with the E and without the E. But I wanted to dedicate a new playlist on the channel to peated whiskies, and not just peated Irish whiskey either. Oh yeah, we're expanding, we're branching out, we're growing. And not just me on the channel, but the amount of whiskeys that I'm going to be getting to try, because I only post once a week normally. So technically, I'm starting to see a backlog of whiskeys I want to try, and why not solely dedicate a video series to just peated whiskeys? Makes sense, really. And that's what Smoky Saturdays is all about. For the moment, I won't be posting every Saturday, but my aim is to bring out 2 a month right now until I kind of get into the swing of things, and you know, we'll take it from there and we'll see what happens and how this grows. And first up, because I'm Irish, again, don't let the accent fool you. Why not something from Ireland? This is Smoke and Mirrors by 2 Stacks Irish Whiskey. So I did a video a while back on some of the 2 Stacks unpeated offerings, and I'll link that in the card above, but I've already touched on the brand, so I won't be really going into that today. I'll just give a very brief overview of that side of things. This show is really going to be mainly about drinking peated whiskey. I'm going to keep it simple. So 2 Stacks is the brainchild of 3 friends from the north who run another company called Island Craft Beverages, Shane McCarthy, Liam Brogan, Donal McGlynn, basically putting their heads together and coming out with really good quality whiskey for those that like really good quality whiskey. This guy, right here. Emphasis on quality and value, naturally. So 2 Stacks is obviously the name of the whiskey, and they source their whiskey from Great Northern Distillery, or G&D as we call it, which then puts 2 Stacks into the independent bonders and bottlers category, which I love to see, because they have a tremendous amount of things that they can actually do with their whiskeys when blending or vatting. I like independent bottlers and bonders. The Smoke and Mirrors then is a vatting of peated and imperial oatmeal stout cask single malts. It's a vatting of single malt. The breakdown of which is quite interesting and convenient enough put on the back of the label for all to see. Transparency at its finest, folks. If I'm any good at this, you should probably and hopefully see an image of the label right now. So the breakdown then is 30% peated malt, which is triple distilled and aged in bourbon casks, 60% stout malt, again triple distilled and finished in ex-imperial oatmeal stout casks, and 10% double distilled malt aged in first fill bourbon casks. There's a lot going on in this little bottle. A modest 48% ABV, which again, I like to see. We aren't losing out on any of those big flavors. And when we break it all down, it's very interesting peated single malt. I actually forgot to mention that this is a non-age statement whiskey too. Boop, boop. So the peated malt is obviously going to give you that smokiness to the whiskey that you would come to expect, but what's really nice is the addition of the oatmeal stout, which, if I'm correct, should really drive on the coffee and chocolate vibes that this whiskey would have to offer. I mean, what I like about these whiskeys is that they really are created by whiskey drinkers for whiskey drinkers, and it's a premium vatting of peated whiskey. And there are a lot more coming online in the following months from different producers and distillers, but it's kind of why I wanted to dedicate a part of the channel to peated whiskey. There's just so much going on. Disclaimer, I myself don't have a great track record with peated whiskey, and anyone that knows me knows my story behind the whole thing. I'm not gonna get into it fully, but I did happen to poison myself with a peated scotch many years ago, and I've really had to kind of retrain my palate to be able to enjoy smoky whiskeys again. Thankfully, and I am glad to say that it is working. I really am starting to enjoy them a lot more these days, hence the channel. Let's get on to the whiskey, shall we? Before we do, at this point, I always ask that if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel and hitting the little notifications tab as well. I'm trying to grow this little channel into something special for whiskey drinkers and enthusiasts around the world. And also, if you like the video at the end, throw me a thumbs up for support. Nice. Okay, so the whiskey. I've already done the breakdown of this, but to sum up again, we're looking at 30% peated malt, 60% oatmeal stout malt, and 10% double malt, all of which can be found on the back label. All of the liquids in this are from Great Northern Distillery, GND. 48% ABV, released officially in February of 2021. Still available and roughly about 50 euros. I do know the crew in Two Stacks recently also launched their Dram in a Can offering in the United States. So hopefully it won't be too long before you guys across the pond see some of this stuff on the shelves. I mean, maybe, hopefully. We'll see what happens. All right, so I'm gonna pour this into the glass and give it a chance to mellow out a bit. Okay, so on the nose. Smoky, but not a full-on blast of peat. Some lovely kind of fruit notes of, I want to say pear coming through, but very, very subtle. A lovely malty nose on it. It's very much chocolatey too, kind of a malty chocolateness. You know, I think, yeah, that stout cask is doing a wonderful job of bringing in those robust flavors and enhancing the nose a nice bit. Even a slight bit of a coffee bean note to it. For a non-age statement peated whiskey, this is a fairly complex whiskey for that, you know? Lovely peppery kind of spice in behind it there as well, finishing off. I would say it's very well balanced, or there are very well balanced flavors on the nose. Let's have a little sip. Sláinte. Oh my God, it's so good. Smoky again, but lovely kind of malty notes and smokiness. Chocolate, coffee, vanilla. It is quite complex, but well balanced. It's not overly complex. You're able to kind of pick out everything, but for the non-age statement, well balanced. And I know I say that a lot, but really, there's a lot going on, you know? That lovely bit of white peppery spice. The malt is really giving it a lovely kick of sweetness. And you have the stout cask then bringing the earthy, robust flavors. And then you have your peat just chilling out, just hanging out, making sure it's all good, you know? Sláinte again, second sip. Sweet peat, the malt, the chocolate vibes, the earthiness, you know, it's very good. I like that. The finish then tapers off quite nicely. There's still plenty of heat left on the palate. Kind of turns a bit malty then after the sweetness kind of subsides. So the official press release says something like, Smoke and Mirrors manages the perfect balance between the sweet peated notes and dry chocolate flavors, rounded off with distinct vanilla notes and heavier oils from ex-bourbon double distilled malt. In my honest opinion, this is a fantastic whiskey. It's complex and well balanced right across the entire spectrum. I think the lads in Two Stacks did a real amazing job of putting this one together. It's something that I think you really need to try for yourself. And I'm not endorsed or sponsored by anyone to say that. This bottle here, it belongs to the bar. I think this has a lot to offer both those that really like peated whiskeys and want to try something new, while also being very much approachable to those that haven't much experience with peat and kind of don't want to get, how would you say, too blown away from something that's overly peated. So yeah, do check this out if you haven't yet, and if you have, let me know what you thought of it in the comment section below. Did you get the same notes as myself? What did you think of it? That's all for this very first episode of Smoky Saturdays. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to doing more of these in the near future. And if you have any suggestions on what peated whiskies you'd like to see me try, leave a comment down below and I'll do my very best to get to them in the coming weeks/months. Promise. Thanks again to the lads in Christy's here, my forever gracious hosts. I'm the Whiskey Chaser Brian. We'll chat soon. Sláinte.